welcome back to Houseplants on a Budget. Today we're talking about pests. Sadly, some of my plants have had pests, and while some of them like these you wouldn't really notice unless you look quite closely, other ones like my Pachira aquatica are looking worse for wear. I've lost lots of leaves, as you can see there, so I could tell there was a big problem with that one that did more urgently need treatment. But on closer inspection I noticed some pests had been living on some of my other plants as well. So they've all had a treatment today, all of the ones that I've noticed pests living on, and I might go through the others as a precautionary measure a bit later on. So to treat the pests I used neem oil, which I've seen recommended all over the place. Just bought it on Amazon and mixed it with water and washing up liquid in a squirty bottle. So this was to treat spider mites predominantly on most of my plants, but I did actually find 3 different pests living amongst my plants. So you can see on this plant it's made the leaves go really yellow. They look all sort of speckled on the bottom, but you can't to naked eye really see what pests were on there until you look really closely. And there we go, finally I did see one little spider running around. So these little pests have been causing quite a bit of havoc with my poor Pachira aquatica. Also, my trailing monstera had spider mites as well, as I pointed out on my last video, and somebody did kindly recommend the neem oil. So I've given those a spray down. I sprayed on top of the leaves, and also the best I could I tried to get underneath the leaves. As well as that, my Diffenbachia had a couple of little mites on it as well, so I've given that a good spray down, and I sprayed in all the nooks and crannies and on the soil as well, just in case any little critters were living down in the soil. Pest number 3 is a dreaded Thrips. I've only seen this one, and I hoped it wasn't a thrip, but someone on Instagram confirmed that it was. I have no idea where it came from or which other plant might have brought it in. But to begin with, I give it a good wash down in the shower and left it hanging in the bathroom, hopefully hoping that the humidity might help kill off whatever was living on it. So that's been in the bathroom for quite some time, getting some humidity, but today I gave that a spray down as well. So that's also had a neeming with the neem oil solution, and there's lots of little places that spiders could hide on there as well. So just in case there's spider mites as well as thrips, you never know, do you? They could all be living on there having a whale of a time. So I gave that one a good spray down as well. I also popped it on its side so that I could spray the undersides of the leaves, because that does seem to be where they hang out. Also a cutting I took off of the lemon lime, just because I was worried that the whole thing might die. I've taken a little cutting and thought I'd better treat that. Pest 3 is scale insects, and I've noticed these growing on my umbrella tree, which is also looking quite dusty and neglected because it just lives by the TV and looks after itself, so I don't pay much attention to it, and sadly this is the result, scale insects growing on it. And I've got more experience with scale insects because I seem to have had them on pretty much any houseplant I've ever owned. Thankfully they seemed quite easy to get off of this plant, so I gave it another spraying down with the neem solution, and then was able to just remove them with a bit of cotton wool, and they've come off quite easily. So hopefully that's the end of that for the umbrella plant. They have a more robust leaf rather than the other plants which had quite soft leaves, so I'm hoping it won't have done too much damage to the umbrella tree. It still seems very healthy and happy. I also used some of the neem oil neat on a cotton wool pad to clean some of my plants. Like my Anthurium Plowmani was just in need of a clean, so it's brought it up really nice and shiny, and if there was anything living on it, there certainly isn't now. As a precautionary measure, I've washed down some of my other plants like the Calatheas, which live nearby to everything else, just in case anything's jumped on them, or I've brush past them with, the item of clothing that might have a mite on it or something. Obviously the thrips can fly apparently, but I've still not seen more than that one. So just to dislodge anything that might be living on them, I've given them a bit of a hose down. I was well prepared for the smell of the neem oil because I read it was a bit rancid, and to be honest, it wasn't the nicest smell. So whilst they were all drying off, I've popped them on the landing when nobody lives up on my flats. So nobody will go past them and disturb them, and I won't have that smell in my house. Thanks once again for watching and for your tips on dealing with the pests. See you later. Bye.